Welcome back to the Crypto Factor. Today, we have a special guest. We're going to be talking about NFTs. We're going to see how you can benefit from NFTs. We're going to answer all your questions on NFTs. Why? Because I'm in the NFT business, but I suck at picking NFTs. So we're going to ask the Crypto Stash right here and cover all your questions. Man, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Paul, man. Great to be here, dude. And I love talking about NFTs, about the metaverse, about gaming. It's what I've been focused on here for like the last 4 years. I know some people may think, no, there's no way, but it's true, man. I mean, I saw this stuff early on and, it was really just this perfect meld of all the things I really love. And I just went after it, man. And a lot of people just like, they didn't get it for a long time. I just kept pushing down people's throats and they're like, and then last year everyone's like, oh my gosh, Stash, you're a genius. And I go, I know, man.
Yeah, truth be told, I've been watching you, man. You have a lot to offer. You have a lot of value to bring. But before we start, the most important question on everybody's mind: what's up with the Stash? How did that happen? That's amazing branding, but how the Crypto Stash?
That's a great question, man. It's funny because in another life, I did lots of different things. So I've always been, I wouldn't say serial entrepreneur, but always very much entrepreneurial focused.
Mm-hmm.
And so previously, before I was really, pushing crypto content and like in the crypto, industry. I've been an investor since 2013, but I didn't really get started into like in the industry and getting in the community until 2016. And before that, I was actually doing a lot of music festival production.
Wow.
So I've worked in the music industry for a long time. I'm a musician. So I've been playing my entire life, played in tons of different bands, from punk to surf to, indie rock to I'm in a bluegrass band at this point right now. And so I've always had a real big passion for music. And so I've done a lot of event production locally in my city. And one of the last events that I did before I stopped doing event production was about a 6,000 person music festival here in Long Beach, California, called the Folk Revival Festival. Uh-huh. And, it was like folk, bluegrass, new folk, so it's a kind of a mix of old kind of, bluegrass, country, Western folk music with kind of the new age of what we're seeing in folk. And it was a lot of fun. And so, but the first year we did it, strapped for cash, man. We didn't have a big budget for the event. And this is literally how this stash came about. Is one of the things we wanted to do was have a beard and mustache competition. We thought that'll bring some people in. It'll be fun. People will love it. And so, we're like, all right, well, we got some prizes and stuff like that. We'll put up some small prizes. We don't have a big budget, but, we'll put these prizes up. And I thought, hey, what if I grow a mustache out and I try and enter and win some of the prizes back? Literally, that's what I thought. That's how strapped we were. I'm not going to lie. Bad idea, because I did not realize the breadth and width of the beard and mustache community, how amazing and incredible and just, artistic and creative these people were. And so word got out about our festival. It was a huge hit. I mean, we hit capacity. We were having issues getting enough people, getting people in because there was so much demand. And people came out for this beard and mustache competition, and they were amazing. And I was so afraid at that point, literally with my little stash at that time, that I was like, I'm not entering. I didn't even enter. But I liked the mustache, and everyone else kind of liked it. My girl liked it. My daughter liked it. And so it just kind of stuck. And I was like, hey, I'm just going to rock. And I just kept doing it through the, years of the festival. And so that was kind of the birth of the stash there. And it's been a predominant part of the face here for quite some time now, since 2013. Actually, wow. I have the poster right here in my studio.
So two things that are funny. I used to do a lot of things with my hair. So when I lost my hair, I used to do a lot of things with my beard. But the funny, now I'm a bit older, I don't do it no more. But the funny thing, I was also in the music business. I used to also do events, music events. Oh, wow. Yeah, in production, I was in production management, production, directing, but I was also an MC, travel around Europe. So we have a few things in common there. But cool. What were you like before all this? Okay, let's say this. If I met you in high school, what would I think about you?
Oh, met me in high school. So definitely a much different person in high school than I am now. I was definitely, I would consider myself in high school, I was kind of a loner, kind of a lone wolf. I mean, I definitely had friends, but I just wasn't, I don't know, it's like a social butterfly, right? I didn't really come into that until I got into college, and that's really where I feel like I blossomed socially with that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so I really started playing music out and being in bands and throwing parties and kind of a lot of debauchery in college, but in high school it was the exact opposite. And I think a lot of that has to do actually with the fact that I went to 3 different high schools, so I moved around a lot.
Yeah.
And ended up going to 3 different high schools, and it's hard, trying to start over a bunch of times in different schools. And so, going from high school in Germany, and then high school in Texas, and then high school in back here in Long Beach where I grew up. And actually, it was actually crazy story, but started in Long Beach, went to Germany, then was in Germany, then went to Long Beach, then came back to Germany, then to Texas, and then back to Long Beach to finish.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay.
Technically really 4 times, but three really total. Yeah. So that it was a little bit rough. So yeah, definitely a different person in high school.
Good grades or bad grades?
I would say, yeah, good grades, not the best, but that's kind of where I found, what I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life was in high school, man. I really latched on because I've always been very creative, focused. And, one of the things I've always liked to do is build and create things. And so I found architecture early in high school in 10th grade. And so I started taking classes then, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I love this. And so I went off to do that, and I went to school for it. I got a degree in it. I worked in the architectural industry for like a decade until 2008. The same year that Bitcoin was created, and that was the year that not only Bitcoin was created because of everything going on in the financial industry, but that was the year that I got laid off from my very lucrative architectural firm.
Oh, wow.
And it totally changed the direction of my life. So, Bitcoin essentially was kind of a part of that. Now, I didn't get into Bitcoin in 2018. It took me a couple of years until 2013, but that was kind of the catalyst. And it's crazy that my life changed at the same year that Bitcoin was created for the same event. The same event changed it, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I remember the time because I'm in Greece, and there was a whole bunch of problems, and back then I had a nightclub, believe it or not.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, nice.
So what's up with the stash business model? Like, okay, we know you as Crypto Stash. We know you bringing us content, talking around the blockchain, being an influencer, an expert, if you will, on NFTs and crypto. But what about the stash business? Is there more to that? What's going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, I really try and, focus on my community and provide good information and just kind of, be entertaining too. That's one of the things that I kind of bring from my music side of things is, the entertainment side. Like to have fun with the community, but, the content is just one part of it, right? So I'm always working on something else. I always got other things going on. I mean, obviously, we play a lot of games on the channel, a lot of NFT focused games, play to earn games. And talking about NFTs and crypto gaming, but I've also been working on a sandbox game. So that's something I've been me and, and my team has been working on. And so it is a secret agent themed game where your secret agent Stash, which is one of my characters that I play on one of my live streams on Thursday. Every Thursday, it's Secret Agent Stash show. Okay. And so I play this character where I'm a secret agent, and I'm essentially going and infiltrating these NFT games and showing you how to play and earn and maximize your profits in these games. And it's focused at beginners, but everyone kind of gets information out of it. So we just kind of run through exactly how you do things in every game. It's always a different game every week. So this game that I'm building in the sandbox is based on that character, and you're basically a secret agent, and you're going and you're trying to connect and deliver and essentially steal back this package from the evil boss. And there's a lot to it. I don't want to spoil too much right now, but it's essentially you go on this quest and you're trying to recover some documents, and you go through a bunch of different environments and it's going to be kind of like a secret agent shooter game. So should be kind of fun. So I'm working on that. Yes, I'm working on that. And always got a couple of things in the fire behind the scenes that that I'm working on. I also have an NFT card game that I launched late last year that also ties into the secret agent stash thing, where these NFTs, you buy packs of them, you get random pieces of disguises that I wear, because I always wear a disguise on the show, so that's another part of the whole thing. So and then you craft these disguises together, and then you can play the NFTs live while I'm on the show. So you redeem the NFTs live, and they get me to do different actions while I'm on the live stream.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so that launched last year, and we've been kind of like, we've been kind of pushing that, but there was some problem with the development of how the interface actually worked, and so we had to kind of go back to the drawing board, man. I hate to say it, but it was just one of those things where we put it out, and it just didn't work the way I wanted it to. So I realized that, and we kind of have gone back to the drawing board here. So that's back in development, but that should be back out here in the next couple of months. So I'm kind of excited to get that back going again too, because that was a lot of fun.
So that's a nice bridge to my next question. What about failures? Have you had failures, and how do you handle them? How do you handle? Because every entrepreneur has failures. I've failed more times than I've succeeded in life. Yeah. I'm sure you have too. How do you handle your failures?
So many failures. I mean, this one I just talked about, the NFT card game, it was kind of a failure. I launched it, and it was like, dang, man. Like, the artwork is amazing. Like, the artwork, it turned out great. The NFT launch was good. The packs, everything was cool. It's just the functionality of it was definitely a failure the first time, but I'm not giving up on that one. So I don't consider it a complete failure. But yeah, I mean, I've totally had, failures even just recently. Like, I tried to start a platform that was, it was called Loot Hall, and it was like a platform for NFTs and gamers to be able to showcase their NFTs in a gamified type of way. And so we've seen some kind of things like that. Like, my buddies over at Art Punks have done something kind of similar called Frames. They took the concept kind of and just made it very simplified. The way I was doing it just wouldn't work out. And it was on Ethereum. So it was like these gas fees just kind of hit us in the middle of the project, and that kind of crushed that. And so that was kind of a failure. And I was like, hey, sometimes you just got to know when something's not going to work, and if you can pivot from it, pivot. I also tried to start a project earlier last year that was centered around doing NBA Top Shot style clips for NFT clips for streamers. So for game streamers, and like doing highlights of their best clips. And another company just essentially beat us to it, and it was kind of disappointing, but that's just kind of how it goes. And we decided, instead of trying to go into competition against them, we were already having trouble securing rights, because it's a very, very difficult thing to secure rights for. Because you're working with not only streamers, but also with gaming companies. We decided to just abandon that project. And so, yeah, so I mean, that's just here in the last year or so, man. Yeah. So like I said, I always got things that I'm trying to do. And when it comes to failures, I think the biggest thing that's, the way I handle it is always make sure that you get a lesson out of that failure. If you don't take something away from that failure that is going to be a life lesson that you can lean on for the rest of your life and understand, here is something that I did, then it is completely a failure. Now, if you can take something like that, I wouldn't consider it a success, but you understand what doesn't work. And I think that's also really important to do and to understand. And sometimes that can be expensive. Sometimes it can be time consuming, but I think it's a very necessary thing. And everything I've seen and everything I've done, I've realized that, the best entrepreneurs are the ones that have failed the most, but got up and kept going, and they learned from their failures. Not just that they failed and kept going, but they learned from those failures. They adapted and they pivoted, and they were able to, incorporate that knowledge into the next venture. And so that's really what I try and do with everything that I've done here, and understand, like, well, where was that point of failure? What was the main cause of it? Was it, that we didn't do enough research? Was it that we didn't get a good enough team? Was it the management level? Was it me? Like there's some
very good point. Most people don't put themselves in the equation because they think everything's perfect, but you have to kind of like put yourself in there as well.
Yeah.
And talking about success, are you success driven, and what does success mean to you?
I would say success driven is not the best word, I would say, to really define me in that sense, but I would say that I am creatively driven. Creatively driven. I'm creatively driven. I really enjoy doing things that push the boundaries of my creativity, and a lot of times that does incorporate success. But that's one of the reasons why I'm in this space as well, is because there is so much opportunity to be creative in this space, to do interesting, weird, crazy, cutting edge type of things that most people just aren't doing. And that's something I've always loved to do. And so I think that's one of the things that really drives me. Success, yes, I want to be successful. But if success means it being dry and boring and uncreative, screw that, man. I'm not on board.
What is success? Is it just money, or is it other things in there as well?
That's always one of those things. I mean, money is great. Money is not the end all be all though, man. There's when it comes to like what defines success, like I think it's very much a balance. I seek balance in my life. I'm not trying to overreach in any particular category. Some people are very much just money, money, money. I'm driven by money. The more money I can get. But what I've seen from that, just from my own personal observations and colleagues and associates and friends, is that the more money, more problems, man.
Yeah,
And it's very much true, man. So I think that it's not all about money, but I think that there's other things that you really want to balance with that too. Personal time, time with your friends and family. I think those are very big. Other time is things you want to balance with that is having time to relax and to be to recharge a little bit. Those things are important to me too. So I think that success is really defined by being able to allocate my time into all of those things and have all of them be fairly well balanced, right?
Yeah.
Making a good amount of money, being able to still spend time with friends and family, and then being able to have time for myself to relax, to go on vacation, to recharge. Those things are very important to me, and then, like I said, pursue creative things that are maybe not necessarily money making, but I really enjoy doing them, staying healthy, things like that. So I think that's really what success means to me is not having to be working so much and to have to sacrifice those things to make sure that you're making enough money to pay rent, pay bills, and live a comfortable life. So,
talking about creativity, is that graffiti behind you? Did you do it?
Yeah.
Did you really?
It is. No, I didn't.
Okay. Right.
No, but a bunch of people asking it, like, "Oh man, that's so cool! Did you do that?" No. This is just a graffiti piece that I found that I really liked. But it's Einstein, so he's the original.
Oh, okay, I see that. Yeah.
He's the original crypto stash. There you can see.
Awesome.
So and that's kind of the inspiration, right? Where I was like, I want to find a cool background, and I found this is like, it's perfect, man. It's Einstein, one of my idols, and somebody who is a big brain thinker, and I think that's just kind of represents the brand, and then it's a cool piece too. So
yeah, of course, it's cool. So let's get into NFTs a little bit, but let's also get into a little bit about how people can succeed into NFTs. So 3 rules of success that you can name, your 3 top rules for people to be able to succeed with NFTs. What are they?
So number 1 is, first, do your own research. The thing is that right now, in particular with NFTs, there's so much noise out there. There's so many people trying to, push things through Discord. There's tons of scams. There's tons of empty projects that just have, fake accounts that are on Autobot. And, you could easily be being the one buying up these NFTs at a very high price, and you're going to be sitting on these bags. So I would say number 1 is really is just do research, and really I think that's a big thing. Don't just listen to big influencers, people like me or other people in the industry saying, oh my God, you got to get in on this. Really find something that works with you. So that's my number 1, is just make sure that you're doing your own research and you're not just FOMOing into something because everyone else is doing it. Find something that really you connect with, right? Number 2 is community. Mm-hmm. Find the community that you vibe with. I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people just fail to realize, because there's so many projects popping up, and there's a lot of crossover, obviously, with communities, right? But I think finding that community you can truly vibe and grow with, that NFT purchase is going to go a lot farther, right? It's going to get you a lot more out of it, because you're going to maximize the benefits that you're getting from the NFT, because that's what a lot of these NFTs do. In particular, some of the PFP ones, they unlock, communities and, benefits, but you have to be engaged. So I think that, understanding the community, researching the community, if you have a good, really active community, not people who are just there because they're being incentivized and they're trying to suck as much, money or resources from the project, but true community that really care about the project. I think that's a really important thing. So community is one of the biggest things I look for when I'm getting into NFTs really heavily. How popular are these? Are people really interested about this? Are they excited, or are they just being incentivized in some way to be excited? Right. Community is definitely my number 2. And then I would say, a number 3 would really be looking at what does this NFT do? Does it give you any kind of utility? Mm-hmm. Utility is one of my biggest factors in picking NFTs, because with the explosion with NFTs and, a lot of these generative avatar projects. A lot of them are just very hollow, and there are a lot of times you see the same anonymous teams. And there's people out there that have created 10, 20, 30 of these projects because they just pumping them out, and they got this formula and they're an anonymous team and there's a reason for that. So they can continue to just keep duping people and they have no utility. They're not going to ever meet any of their roadmap that is already weak in the first place. So I think looking for true utility in an NFT, I think is incredibly important. Understanding, what you can get out of it. Is it going to unlock a community that you're going to be a part of? Does it have some sort of interesting use case? Is it going to be a part of a game? Is it giving you some sort of passive income? That's a big thing I look for when it comes to NFTs. If an NFT can give me some sort of passive income, I love it. I'm on board. It's something that one of the unique features that I really love because I love things that are passive, right? The more passive income you can get, you can, accumulate without having to do too much, I think is always a great opportunity with NFTs. So, utilities, I would say, is definitely my number 3 and what I look for in an NFT. If they don't have utility, man, and the only thing they're offering you is a little bit of community, you really got to be involved in that community and just truly love the art and, maybe what they're going to promise. But I think if a NFT has true utility, it's definitely worth something, looking at.
Nice. And do you think anybody can succeed in NFTs, or is there a certain mindset you have to be able to get into them? I think in the beginning it was a bit more random, but now I think it's a bit more, I don't know, now that time has passed. Do you think it takes a certain mindset for it?
Well, I think that, understanding the value behind what an NFT is something that is still hard for a lot of people to wrap their heads around. Just like it was for crypto. For a lot of people before they got in, they may have seen things about Bitcoin. They didn't really understand it. And then there was that aha moment, like, bing.
Yeah.
And it made sense to them. All of a sudden, they're like, oh my gosh, I got to get in. And then they're doing things. Then they turn into degens eventually or something, And I think that the same thing kind of is with NFTs is that they really, it's something that not a lot of people, not everybody gets, because not everybody in the crypto industry is even convinced right now. And so you got to be in crypto first to really be convinced by NFTs. I think a lot of times, we've seen a lot of backlash from people who are not in either, and they think NFTs are just a scam because all they've seen is surface level stuff, right? So I think a lot of times these PFPs that have gone crazy high value, they kind of give NFTs a little bit of a bad name because that's what people are seeing, and it represents it as an industry, and it's not necessarily indicative of the entire ecosystem. So I think that, what it takes to really be latched onto NFTs is understand that these have massive value, that there's so many applications that are going to be NFT powered. And right now we're just barely scratching the surface. And so that's what all that, a lot of people, like I said, they just equate that. So I think it's people that are able to see future use cases for these things, to be able to kind of understand how these things will play out in the future. It's the same people who understood that the internet was going to be big and that e-commerce was going to be big, and that crypto was going to be big. And so having that mindset and that mentality to be able to do that in any situation, I think is also required to really be on board with NFTs and understand their true value. And then I think also the creativity side. I think that people, that are more, creatively focused, they get it faster. They understand it quicker. And one of the things I always thought too is that gamers would also get this too. And I think they do in general, but I there's still been a lot of backlash from gamers thinking that NFTs are a scam. And I'm like, it's the exact same thing you've already been buying, but you actually own it. You've already been spending thousands of dollars on skins in Fortnite. Why would you pay? Why would you keep paying? Epic to get these skins, and then you can't do anything with them. Wouldn't you rather have them in your own wallet where you own them and you could then sell them in a marketplace if you're done playing? Like, I would. That's one of the main things. And so I think that we'll get there where everyone understands that, because gamers definitely, they value digital assets. They understand that these digital assets have value already because they're gaming items. And I think that, NFT technology is just kind of the next evolution of that. And then it empowers you in a lot of different ways. So I think that those types of people really are people that will, get into NFTs and are a little bit more predominantly focused on that.
What about people that want to start their own NFT business? They want to make their own art. But what kind of advice can you give these people? Maybe the amateur, maybe the intermediate, maybe the person who wants to take it a little bit level further notch. What kind of advice can you give these people?
Number one advice is, like I said, we'll kind of go back to the same thing about looking at these is, first do some research, understand where you want to be, what chain you want to be on. Because right now we don't have a lot of interoperability, which, we'll get there eventually, but it is a very long road. So, choosing which chain you want to be on is a pretty big decision.
Would you still
And
pick Ethereum?
What's that?
Would you still
Would I
pick
still pick
Ethereum?
Ethereum? No. Oh, no.
No?
No,
Okay.
no way. If you want to be on an Ethereum-based chain, I would definitely go with an L2 like Immutable X, which is one of my favorite, layer 2 solutions for Ethereum. So if you're going to do NFTs and you want to do them in Ethereum, a layer 2 solution like Immutable X is by far a much better option. But I love Wax. Wax has been, one of my favorite communities to be in and to create in. I've done tons of NFTs on Wax. I've done NFTs on Ethereum too. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this, but I created the first, individual NFTs on Ethereum before anyone was doing individual ones. Like there was products that were doing them, things like Crypto Kitties, Cheese Wizards, things like that. They were doing NFTs, but nobody was doing their own individual ones. I was the first YouTuber to create my own NFT in conjunction with Engine, and we airdropped it to a bunch of people through their interface. And so I've been creating NFTs on Ethereum since 2018. And so I've seen it all. I've been up and down. I've launched on, but I've come to really, be comfortable and be at home on the Wax blockchain. And that's one of the ones I definitely recommend a lot of times. And, when it comes to advice, that's my second piece of advice is find the community that you vibe with the most too. If it is Ethereum and it's truly like, layer 1 Ethereum on chain, then all right, then so be it. Just understand that, you have an uphill battle with fees there. But I think finding that community that you can really build with, because that's, you got to think about, well, who are you selling to? What's your target market? Those are important things because anybody can create NFTs, but if you want to sell NFTs, you really need to have an audience. You have to have a target. You have to build that community around that, and being a part of that community is important. And usually that comes down to which blockchain you picked. Yeah. And so, there's great communities on every one of these blockchains. And it's just about finding the right one that suits you and what you think has a good direction. So,
what about you yourself as a person? Do you have any daily habits and morning rituals?
Daily habits, morning rituals.
Yes, daily habits and morning rituals.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely do. So, first thing is, I get up and I'm doing my thing, and I stretch. I do some, calisthenics like the push-ups, some dips, things like that. To just kind of get ready for the day. And I do like a 20-minute walk, usually 30-minute walk, not run, not jog. I just walk, man, just keep it simple. But I'm consistent in it. And that's one of the things is important is that it's not a lot. Like I'm not doing an intensive workout every morning. I'm not over here like a psycho status, but like, I'm doing, some basic stuff and being consistent about it. So I think that definitely helps me to kind of get started in the day. And, then first thing is just kind of always looking at some social stuff after that, which I hate to admit, but it's kind of like the next move there, but jumping on. But I mean, I start work pretty early, and I work a good 10-hour day almost every day, and so I have a lot of different things going on there. But yeah, so I would say that's kind of one of those morning rituals I have, and then also just kind of like I guess affirmation, just saying, like telling myself like, look, this may be a hard day. Maybe you have some challenges, but just go out there and go crush those things. There's a lot of excuses that can be made. Don't make those excuses and just go and make it happen. And put the wheels in motion. And I think a lot of times, people get stuck on just getting started. That's always one of my things is like, once I get started, boom, 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 and things just keep going. But it's getting to that starting point, just getting to the starting line. That's, I think, what I have trouble with. I think a lot of other people do as well. But once I'm at the starting line, at the block's ready to go, and they got the gun, they're like, "All right, ready?" And then I'm off to the races, man. And it just kind of flows,
Especially when they chase you with a gun.
Yeah, getting there. But yeah, right now, yeah. But if they're chasing with a gun, then it doesn't matter. The motivation's there.
That's motivation.
But I will say though, being someone who is self-employed or an entrepreneur, working from home, it can be hard for a lot of people. I always make sure that I get up, I get dressed, I get ready every single day in the morning. I don't wait. I'm not sitting around in freaking sweatpants or in my drawers, just trying to like disheveled, getting things done. Like I do it just like I would if I was getting up and getting ready to go to a place of employment. And that keeps me, focused and, in a routine every single day. And it makes me, ready to work. So.
Got you. Did you have to make any sacrifice to reach the level you're at right now? And what kind of sacrifice have you made?
All the sacrifices, man. And I think that's just a name of the game. in general, like I was telling you, I was in the architectural industry. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And I was very focused on it. And I was good. I was pretty good at it, man. I was really good at it. And I was on a good trajectory, and then 2008 came around and there was just circumstances out of my control. I had great work history, worked for some very prestigious firms and companies, but there just wasn't any work for somebody in architecture at that point. And so I had to kind of pivot and sacrifice that whole career path to just make something work. And what I did was I started my own company. It's a Long Beach web design. So I actually run a web development company still to this day. That's been my bread and butter here for the last 12 years or something, over a decade. And so, it was a sacrifice. I sacrificed all that time, all that money that I put into architecture, and completely switched. And, other things too, like, sacrifices, I think that happen on the daily, but also, other sacrifices, financially and, relationship wise, I've definitely had to go through, and understand that, hey, like I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I have to sacrifice, everything that kind of, comes with that. That's not a bad sacrifice. I love doing it, but it does. There are limitations there, right? So I think that sacrifice is definitely a part of it, especially when you have specific goals. Like, you want to accomplish something, and that may be, mean, like you said before, I was talking about how you don't want to sacrifice too much. You want to try and have a balance, but sometimes you have to. Maybe you can't go out to that conference. Maybe you can't go and hang out with those friends because you got to get this thing done. And so those sacrifices need to be made when they need to be made, but it shouldn't be every time, and I've definitely had to make those as well, sacrificing friends and family at some point. But not to hopefully a degree that is detrimental, for my life. So.
Do you feel that you had to leave certain friends behind and get new friends because they just weren't part of your journey, didn't understand, and maybe they distanced yourself? They would hold you back, kind of, if you kept on hanging out with them. I'm asking this because we're a cryptopreneurship channel. We focus on entrepreneurship. And I also have an entrepreneurship channel, by the way. And I just wanted for people to listen to this, because sometimes there's a saying, right? If you hang out with 5 losers, you'll be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 drug addicts, you'll be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th. Right. What do you think about that?
No, I think you're spot on, man. And that's a hard idea. Ideal to kind of come to realization, a self-realization. I think a lot of people don't want to make that sacrifice because, they're my friends, but I've 100% had to do that. There's people who have been good friends, and it's like, these are great friends from college or whatever, but we slowly drift apart because we're going in different directions. I'm hustling, I'm over here trying to do something, I have goals, and you're still working at the supermarket as a grocery clerk, and I'm like, hey man, I love you, man, but like I'm moving this different direction. And so I think that's one of the things that actually crypto has really given me, and one of my most cherished things that I take from the crypto industry is I've made some amazing friends here, and people who are on the same page. These are people who it's like I found my tribe, right? So like I said, I've been in other industries. I've been a musician, so I have tons of musician friends, people here locally in the scene, and I still hang out with them and stuff like that. But I never felt as at home and as accepted and as a part of a tribe, we'll say tribe, as I have with crypto. And this was from the beginning, man. And it's one of the best things that I love about it is that, for whatever reason, cryptocurrency as an industry attracts like-minded individuals. Yeah. And so it makes it like this synergy between people, like it's automatic, man. Like, I remember going to early conferences in 2017 and, meeting people and just being like, oh my gosh, it's like we've known each other for years already. Like the synergy is so crazy and amazing. And so I've made some really great friends in this industry, early on. People like Ben Armstrong and Crypto Indio and a slew of other people out there that you guys may know, Mark Moss, like so many great people that we all kind of have grown together, and it's great to have that feeling that these people are have your back, they're on the same page, and you really have a lot in common because of these things. But yeah, I mean, it definitely meant leaving a lot of other people behind and having to cut friendships that were long term, that like I said, they weren't going down the right path. They weren't being having healthy lifestyles, or like I said, kind of holding you back in a sense, right? Yeah. Because you fall into these same rhythms, like, okay, well, let's just do this. I'm hanging out with this buddy instead of what you could be doing, which is, like you said, hanging out with people who are moving the same direction as you, right? Instead of against the tides there. So, and it's hard to do, but I think it's necessary.
Yeah, and just to add something, because a lot of people are going to be watching this and commenting down below. When Stash said, somebody working in a supermarket, it's not the job that's the bad thing. It's what you do before the job and after the job. If you after the job you want to go to the bar, hang out, and get drunk, or go watch TV all night, I think it's that sort of mindset that we're talking about, not the actual job that you do. Because just
yes and no. I will say, like, it comes down to a certain. It comes down to something like, okay, well, if I understand at a certain age that maybe that's what you're doing, but if that's all you have, major goal, or you have no goals, and you're like, well, I've been working as a checker at this thing for this long. Well, it's like, okay, I'm always trying to move forward, and you're not moving forward. You're stuck in this role. And so I'm not like dissing on anybody's particular job. I'm just saying that, if you're comfortable, that's fine. But I'm looking to keep moving forward and to keep growing as a person instead of being stagnant, And I think that, it's not necessarily the job. It's just the fact
that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
You've gotten stuck in this position.
After work, they could be studying coding, but they're not. They're going to the bar getting drunk. That's what I mean. Like, if you're studying coding after, inevitably at some point you're going to get another job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless your passion is truly like checking groceries, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could get that.
Oh my love, I love pushing.
And some people like, maybe like, hey, I'm a janitor. I love my job as a janitor, and that's cool, man. But that doesn't, like I said, being around somebody that is comfortable with it, then that's fine. But me going the direction I'm going, it just means that we're going to kind of split directions, because I'm going this way and you're just going to continue to go straight this way. And so, it doesn't mean that I have any less love for them. It just means that I probably am not going to spend as much time with them. And, it's not as motivational for me to be around somebody of that nature, right? If you're not motivated to increase your position, then I'm going to be less motivated to do so as well. So,
if you can't inspire them, then they will drag you down. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. And I've tried to do that. I mean, there's been definitely friends where I'm like, hey, let's go together. I'm bringing you with me. And they just don't have the motivation to do it, or the inclination or the desire. And so I'm like, all right, well, if you're comfortable with your position and what you're doing and the money you're making, and you are fulfilled, then that's great, man. But I'm not. I'm hungry. I want to keep going. I want a little bit more out of this, out of life. So I'm going after it. Rawr.
Talking about hunger, what's your favorite food?
Oh, dang, dude. I'm kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a foodie, but definitely I am, man. I love food. I'm not gonna lie. And I love all kinds of food. I will pretty much eat anything. So my favorite food, do you mean like one dish or one like style of food?
One dish.
One dish.
Make it very difficult, man. It's not gonna be easy. You should see my next question.
Okay, I'm gonna say favorite dish is it's so okay. Okay, I'm gonna say favorite dish, pizza with pineapple on it.
With pineapple on. Oh, comment down below if you're with.
Don't hate on the pineapple pizza, man. Do not hate. That was a bit of a trolling one, but I do love.
Comment down below. This is a good one. Comment down below if you prefer pineapple on pizza or non-pineapple on pizza.
If you don't love pineapple on pizza, then you don't love pizza, man. That's what the greatest thing about pizza as a dish is that it can be anything. It's this blank canvas for deliciousness of so many different ways. And so if you limit yourself and say, oh, pizza's only so and so and these ingredients, like you're just limiting yourself, man. I've had all kinds of different pizzas.
You're a pizza maxi.
Exactly. You're a pizza maxi, dude. Don't be a pizza maxi, dude. There's nothing good about being a maxi of anything. We've seen that here in this industry. It doesn't work. Be inclusive. I like altcoins in my pizza.
My alt pizza.
Yeah, I like my alt pizza.
All right. What's the one question you wish people asked you, but they never do?
The one question people ask me, but never.
It could be about entrepreneurship, about giving advice. It could be like anybody that wants to succeed. They could be asking you, and you really want to help people. What's the one question or interviews when they interview you? What's the one question you wish people asked you, but they never do, or seldom do?
Wow, that's a hard one, man. One question that people ask me, or that they don't ask me. I would say that you've asked some really good ones here, and I think that the question of why are you moving in this direction, and why is it important to kind of be a part of this future? what is the real motivation behind it? And like I said, for me, it really comes down to I'm creatively driven by this. And I think that question of simply, why this? Why this? And I know it's a little bit general, but I think that a lot of people kind of miss that. They want to get into the details of like, why, what do you do with NFTs and things like that. And so I think a lot of times some of the bigger overarching questions get kind of glossed over.
Right.
And
in
this case, I think that the why is like I said, I really love being on the cutting edge of things. I was using the internet in the early 90s, man, when I was a kid, because I latched on to computers and to these things really early on. I was building computers at 14 and, getting on the internet and, trolling people, and then AOL comes along, and so I saw the potential early on with this, and I was really big into it, but I couldn't capitalize on it. And I think that, I see that same opportunity here with crypto. And so that's kind of part of that why is that there is just massive opportunity.
Nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna get to the part that most people will probably be waiting for. That's why I'm stuttering right now. So getting to the part where most people are probably gonna be excited about, because I'm gonna ask some of the most common questions about NFTs, and we're gonna answer and talk about them. Okay. All right. And some of these are quite funny, but you have to understand, Stash. People ask this. People want to know this kind of stuff. Okay.